Thanks, Jen. I know that you and David have also been really looking forward to this next conversation. Joining me now is Maggie Weiland, Executive Director of the San Francisco Entertainment Commission. Welcome, Maggie.
Thanks, Eileen. Thanks for having me today.
We are so thrilled to have you on the show today. As you know, we've been chatting. Nightlife is such an important part of our culture here in San Francisco. And we understand that you hosted a virtual summit recently. So we would just love to hear if you could just bring us up to speed on the state of the industries.
Sure. So just this past week, I held a virtual summit on behalf of the Entertainment Commission. And we had about 600 attendees come meet us online to discuss the current state of the industry and a road toward recovery. We had folks like Mayor Breed join us, along with Dr. Tomas Aragon from the Department of Public Health, my boss, City Administrator Naomi Kelly, Director Joaquin Torres, and then many people from the industry itself, ranging from small venue owner all the way up to the general manager of the Chase Center. We had some lively discussions. A lot of it was gut wrenching because of the fact that we are in this situation now because of the coronavirus and the shelter in place. Many of our businesses have had to completely shut their doors as a part of this process. And the majority of them being some of the first businesses to have to close based on their capacity and their activity. Sad reality is just the fact that the majority of these businesses are also going to be the last ones to come back online. So as we start, thinking through how we get toward the end of phase 4, we're working to engage our constituents in that process and help us pave the way, since they're the subject matter experts and the owners and managers of these facilities.
And I know we've heard a lot about the timeline, and of course, everything is fluid. And we've heard everything from a partial reopening by 2021 or a full recovery possibly by 2023. Can you just shed some light on this for us?
Yeah, so I can shed a little bit of light. I think, the basic answer that I'm sure you're getting from many people is I just don't quite know. I can't tell you exactly when we're going to be coming back online because it's all driven by science and data. And so our leaders in San Francisco and regionally are looking at how to reopen and do it safely. And it's all going to be based on risk factors, the science, and the data. And so we're really looking closely at these health indicators to kind of show how we can safely move forward with reopening by sector. So that's what we're doing. And, in the interim, again, we're looking at creative ways to bring not only our industry, but all local businesses back online safely, even if it means doing it in adaptive and creative ways in the meantime.
Yes, and speaking of which, I'm so glad you brought that up. Of course, Mayor Breed announced this week the Shared Spaces program. Can you tell us a little bit about how that works in terms of getting a permit and being able to use these non-traditional spaces?
I can tell you a little bit about it, Eileen. It's still very new, but I'm really excited about it. This is one of those programs that the fact that I can be involved, I feel very honored because government can sometimes move a little bit slowly. This Economic Recovery Task Force is very fast paced, which is great, which is exactly what we need right now. So those creative, dynamic ideas that are coming from our industry, we want them, we need them. I will advocate for them. This is one of those. This was really, kind of a group think thing where we had many different people all at once realize, hey, we need to utilize outdoor spaces because that is more of a safe space for folks to be able to physically distance while still being able to enjoy the company of one another, even if from a distance, be able to enjoy culture, which includes art and music and the things that we love and support from our industry while having a bite to eat or having a cocktail. And so this program would essentially utilize outdoor spaces, including our plazas, some of which are existing, some of which may be created, as well as parklets, as well as streets and sidewalks, and just moving those into almost more of like a European feel, right? And so when this program comes online, it's still going to be a couple of weeks away. I'm certainly pushing for a path forward to engage our constituents to not only be able to serve food and drink, but to be able to have music, even if it's just amplified sound and not entertainment. I think that's kind of an important element here.
I love that you mentioned that it's a product of a group think. Can you tell us about some other creative ideas or solutions that we might be able to expect coming up in the future?
Oh, at this point, Eileen, I'm not quite sure exactly what those solutions would be. They really should be coming from our industry. I would say, President Blyman, who is on my commission, is a big leader in terms of being a thought leader in San Francisco around this effort. Some of his creative ideas that I have really loved are looking at ways in which to loosen the ABC requirements, so in the ways in which we serve alcohol. As you've seen, we've been able to kind of adapt to serving alcohol in a to-go basis the last couple of months, and everyone has remained safe and has gotten by. And so I think it's time to really look at creative ways to improve that very outdated piece of state code.
And I'm so glad that you brought up President Blyman because I really thought that he had some interesting ideas that he shared during the summit. For example, he said that this might be a time of a renaissance for local bands in light of the fact that some of these larger venues will not be filled by these touring acts. Can you tell us more your thoughts on that?
I absolutely love that thought, and I think it couldn't be more realistic. I mean, I am seeing artists emerging right now, and I think that our spaces are going to need to highlight folks who are available to come and play in their spaces. And since so many of these touring acts have already had to cancel, we're seeing things cropping up in the outdoor spaces where they're doing curbside and what have you of live performances. And so we've got to find a way to harness that. We already have an entertainment commission that permits and regulates that kind of activity. And so we need to incorporate that in how we look at our reopening. And we need to really push for local musicians to have their place to shine again and kind of bring that amazing culture back to San Francisco that so many of us knew years ago.
Absolutely. And also along the lines of innovation, we've heard about how technology might even be used in these new nightlife experiences. I believe President Blyman had mentioned we would be potentially reserving spots at bars. And I know
Yeah.
Open Table already has that on their system where you can make reservations at bars. Are there other ways that businesses are reinventing themselves or using technology in new ways?
I think it's been kind of blowing my mind the ways in which the local businesses I permit and regulate, and then I know dearly personally, have been pivoting all of their business plans to be able to accommodate this time period. I don't think a lot of that adaptation is going to go away even after this is over. I mean, the fact that chefs who are currently employed are coming together and putting together meal plans each week for San Francisco residents, going down to the farmers markets and getting them all of the fresh veggies and then delivering it to them in person. That's a company called Chef's Cart. I absolutely love. And then, we have bars who may be reserving their space for, a 1 hour power hour or a 2 hour power hour where you come in with your 10 closest friends who you're already comfortable with. Maybe everyone's been able to get tested and, has a negative and is more comfortable with that. You come in, you have, drink till you drop, or, you have like a bar fee of some kind, and then it's all completely wiped down after your visit, and they bring in the next group. Like, I actually think things like that could very much work.
That sounds incredible. And I was just wondering, Maggie, what spots are you going to be rushing back to when things finally reopen?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm a little bit biased. I do love Macondre, which is on Polk Street because my best friend owns it. I've known him since long before I was ever involved with the Entertainment Commission. Great, great space. I can't wait to go back there and hang out with my friends. I also love Ben's Bar, Tonic. It's amazing. And then again, I cannot wait to get back to see some live music. So going to the Fillmore, being able to hang in the poster room, going to the Independent, Great American Music Hall, Bottom of the Hill. you name it, I'm there.
Well, you are getting us all fired up, Maggie. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your perspective and your insights.
Thank you, Eileen. Thanks for having me today. And please do visit our website, the Entertainment Commission, as we do have a lot of information about nightlife relief. And soon we will be posting information, results from our survey that we had 170 people from the industry take.
Actually, I just have one last question, just because it is true. So many of these workers in entertainment are also had second jobs in restaurants or with small businesses in tourism. Can you tell me, Maggie, how is the Entertainment Commission advocating for this community?
Well, we are encouraging all of our constituents to go on our website and look at the ways in which you can not only support specific local businesses. There's many different ways in which you can do so directly with the business, but also directly with the employees. Those businesses have set up funds like GoFundMe for their employees who are currently unemployed due to coronavirus. So please take a look, do your research, support local businesses, at least 2 to 3 a week. Forgo making a meal at home to go and pick something up down the street. That is the best way in which you can support.
All right, Maggie, thank you again. And we look forward to seeing you at all of these great venues down the road. And Jen, I'm going to send it back to you and David. I know that you've been chatting quite a bit about, David had mentioned restaurants that were on the top of his list when things reopen. And of course, Jen, we would love to hear, what are some of your favorite bars and clubs that you're looking forward to going back to?